came here, you were at DePaul today.
Yes.
Were you really talking to the basketball team about networking?
Yes, I was. And Professor Dr. Joel Whalen,
Hello,
who
Professor.
invited me to speak to the DePaul men's basketball team today, is here with us.
All right. Professor, when you, why?
Why?
Were you, did you make a lot of, analogies between networking and passing?
Passing what?
The basketball.
Oh, passing the ball,
Yeah.
right. That's not a very common term in rock and roll music, I guess, like passing unless
But
it's
why,
doobies.
what was the connection? I mean, should Blue Devil fans, are they the Blue Devils, right? They are the
Blue Demons.
Blue
And
Demons.
Fran, bring up your
I don't
point
know.
about
I
that.
was just thinking today, but I've been to a couple of their games throughout my life, but it's a Catholic school and their basketball team's the Blue Demons.
Yeah, that's dark.
Why
I
is
don't
that?
get it.
But why? Again, back to the question, why were you talking to the basketball team?
Well, it was best described as speed dating between basketball players and business people to kind of get people acquainted with, networking and talking to strangers and asking for business cards.
But why do we care if the basketball team can do those things?
Well, I think it was Phil Jackson, like the Bulls coach, who used to say that the Bulls had to arrive in suit and coats and really present themselves to the other teams. And maybe that's like a tactic of intimidation. And, Francis and I, for White Mystery, we have our own appearance that might also bring fear into the hearts of audiences of talk shows around the country. But it was a cool event.
I heard you once shaved your head.
When I was 15, I shaved my head.
Yeah, why? Why? That's your strength, part of your strength as a band.
You shaved your head, too, at one point. Because when you grow up as a redhead, you're a sore thumb kind of out of the womb. And there's a point in your teenagehood that you really resent your appearance. Probably a lot of people here did things to alter their appearance, to kind of discover who you are and who you want to be.
Francis?
I donated my hair to Locks of Love twice, so now I can sell it to a wig shop shame-free in case I ever really hit rock bottom.
Now you go by Miss Alex White. Is your real name Francis Scott Key White?
That's correct.
Why again? Why? Are you related in some way? I heard you were maybe related to Francis Scott Key.
I am, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes from a long lineage of Francis Whites that go back to Pennsylvania Dutch country where our dad is from, and our mom is Greek, and I don't know. That's just kind of how it went down.
Has it been straight through, Francis? I mean, with no interruption?
I don't know.
Well, my great-grandfather is Francis Scott Key White. I forget what my grandfather's
What is your
middle
dad's
name
name?
was. He's Francis Lee White.
Okay. Is there
But
any?
It's all Francis White.
Do you know the number though? Is it like
I think it's
35?
fourth.
Oh, just fourth.
Or no, I think there's 6.
There's
But
6?
every one of them, though, has really funny nicknames. Like, I just found out that my grandfather's nickname was Bubbles. Bubbles White. And our dad is Chip White.
Huh. What
And-
about?
I never got a nickname.
You've always been, you're Franny, kind of. But, and I'm Al, but only in the most, intimate settings. Like, hey, do this, Al. Empty the dishwasher, Al.
So
right?
you grew up. You guys grew up in the city. Now a lot of Chicago bands, grew up either outside of the city or in the suburbs. Did you feel like you had a experience where living in the city that might have been different from those bands? Did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to go see a lot of music when you were in your teen?
I started seeing shows when I was pretty young, and I started seeing shows by myself on my 13th birthday, so half of my life now, because I'm 26, and I went to the Fireside Bowl. If any of you have been there, that was a pretty awesome place for, a growing person to check out music, and sometimes we'd just go there, and it would be hardcore or metal or rock or rockabilly, and I feel like just being open to all of these different genres and just having a good time definitely formed my experience in music. What about you?
Ditto.
So you were in a number of bands before you guys got together to play. What was the decision to say, well, now I want to play with my brother. Had you always been playing music growing up together?
Yes.
We always developed songs together. I've been in a lot of different bands that have toured around the globe and put out records, and it just seemed natural to play with my brother. I mean, look at us. Like, it would be weird. It would be weird if we didn't, right? So by the time we both like came of age, he was 20 and I was 22 or something like that. We're like, let's start a band, but it's also, you know, a record label, and we book ourselves and develop merchandise like underwear and handkerchiefs and release our own vinyl. So it's been a cool experience to share with Francis.
Francis, is there a shorthand that you think that you have with your sister that you wouldn't have playing in a band with somebody else?
Absolutely.
We have a shorthand too.
Well, yeah, like my sister and I have a connection. We always have since like day one. We just got along and understood each other, and it's unsaid. Like when we're playing a show, we don't need to speak to each other. Just it's a natural progression.
But you don't seem to have a relationship that's stormy that you hear other brother and sister duos have. You think about like, or brother, you think about like Oasis or something like that. It doesn't seem like that you're at each other's throats.
Well,
or
we're
anything
looking
like
out
that.
for each other more than anything. When we're on the road, like we have a responsibility to each other. We're not a bunch of rambunctious dudes in a strange band. Like going out, we're family, you know.
Now your music on record or on CD, it sounds like you're performing live. It sounds like you're in a garage. I assume that that's what you're going for. Is there a point where you would want to go for a more polished sound, or do you like the idea that when I'm listening, I'm thinking they're just performing a concert somewhere and it happens to be on my CD?
That's part of the like Dionysian kind of energy that people enjoy, I think, when you can capture that live experience on record and you're in your car and you're listening to it and you're like, yeah, and even though you're stuck in traffic, you're like feeling those
Somewhere else.
Yeah, you're somewhere else. And we're trying to create an atmosphere and an experience for people, and I think that the live experience is a lot more exhilarating than a vacuum with auto-tune, you know? We just recorded at Electrical Audio, which is Steve Albini's Chicago studio, and everything's super, super clean unless you finesse it into a sonic landscape that you want to represent on vinyl. So I think that is, you know, part of what White Mystery is that live experience.
And our recording process, we always record our drums and guitar at the same time just to make it feel a certain way also.
Really? I mean, how many takes are you doing?
Like 1 or 2.
Really? So you could just bang out a record in a weekend?
Like 2 days. We usually like record one day and mix it the next day.
Will you replicate that record experience right now by performing live?
Sure, if you move this couch out of the way.
White Mister.